Okay. So welcome everyone to those that are seeing this after this happened. We are now on the first edition of Mare Nostrum Talks, organized by the Mediterranean Youth Council. And the idea of this session is basically to talk a little bit about the last events that the Mediterranean Youth Council attended. And so for this, we have here some of the people that were there. And yeah, so thank you for listening to this. So the first, I'm just going to share perhaps the first event that we went to, and it was the Youth for Interreg Cooperation on the road to Interreg Go, and it is basically, and this was the 18th of November, and Maisara, Tuba, and I were there. And yeah, so I cannot find us in this picture here because it's very small, but we are there for sure inside these people. And well, basically here the idea was to, as you see there, was to get Interreg volunteer youth volunteers, also some cross-border ambassadors, because macro regional strategies are all around Europe, but then there is also like this idea of creating a Mediterranean macro region. And so we were invited as a youth council from this Mediterranean macro region that still doesn't exist. And so they asked us in different sessions around the day to just basically talk about different things that could be improved after 2027. And for that, we had a declaration at the end of the day that they helped us write. And Maisar, if you want to jump in and say other things that we did, or yeah, so which kind of people did we meet there? I think you are muted.
Yes, mute. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Perfect.
great. So this event was amazing because it has more than 100 people, young people coming from all over Europe, member countries, non-member countries, like EU, non-EU, and neighborhood countries. Um, like Pablo said, they came from very different backgrounds. Like the IV volunteers were there, the cross-border ambassadors were there, and the youth councils were there. Uh, I think my favorite part about this was the space they gave everyone to socialize and know each other and make absolutely good relations, which we, as three of us, Pablo and me and Tuba, try to make the best out of it, recording videos with others about what the Med is to them, talking to know the work of other organizations. And I think we have contacted some of the people we have met for better and lasting connections. So this is the part that I loved most. Also, there was breakout sessions about many topics that are priorities of the Interreg, or the whole declaration was about them. Things like Interreg priorities and youth cooperation and geopolitical situation and EU enlargement, youth involvement. All of this where sessions were different. We were part of two at least of these topics. The thing I loved most is talking about this from very different points of views. Like each of us in these sessions talked about it from a different angle, and it came together as whole. I also loved very much the idea of bringing up the idea of youth check, because and some of the rapporteurs and the people from the Interreg said this is the very first time that youth check and including youth quota in implementation and post dialogue stages, whenever it comes to any future plans, is brought up in this event stronger than any other previous event. I think I was very proud because we all pushed for this and we talked about the need for better and more guarantees of youth check. In every policy, there should be a guarantee that youth are not just uh, taken for granted or taken in the beginning of the dialogue stages and then discarded in the implementation and discarded when it comes to censoring the rest of the project. There should be a future proof for each project. Yeah, I love that very much. And also there was talks about capacity building through Interreg programs, which I really, really hope could be translated into programs that are targeting the South and the neighboring countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, just to add maybe some other context is that most of these regions, then there is like there is Interreg Next Med, for example. So this is related also to funding projects or funding projects at small scale. And one of the things that I
Yes.
remember that people talked about a lot was also the fact that the money that is allocated for this is too little and is normally only allocated for very small projects. So yeah, maybe they could. I don't know if maybe more amount of funding, but at least like do it in another way that is a little bit bigger. And of course, I think even for any one of us that is related to some organization in the Mediterranean, be it related more to startups or trying to do any kind of youth cooperation project, is very interesting to know about the Interreg Next Med, which so you can get funding with that. So I think that's also something that it's important to say. And some people also were very interested in the Mediterranean Youth Council from other kinds of councils. I remember talking with people from also from Alcotra, which is a kind of a youth council from Italy and between Italy and France, and they were very interested in also in joining. And I think also that one idea that could be interesting to explore in the future is the fact that there are already other youth councils in the Mediterranean, but in the Danube strategy, for example, in the Adriatic, especially, I think it's interesting because they are part of the seas of the Mediterranean, let's say. So I don't know, maybe in the future, very long future, it would be very nice to have like kind of the Mediterranean Youth Council, let's say, as a let's say more global strategy, no, or more global council, and then they have these kind of small councils depending on each of the seas of the Mediterranean. Yeah, but this is something for the future, I think. And yeah, I think that was pretty much it. We talked a lot about, even I thought that something was very interesting is also that um, I think, and this is a very personal opinion, is that it's very nice that they invite us to this kind of events, but sometimes I also have the feeling that it's kind of too Eurocentric because we also had some talks with some people that even came from Martinique, I think, and from other. Also, there was another person from Tunisia, and sometimes there was like this kind of barrier that seemed that they were talking about some problems that doesn't have to relate exactly only to EU cooperation, but also with legal structures that are outside EU. For example, someone from Martinique said that, or Guyana said like, okay, but most of the cooperation that we do between territories around is not with the European Union because we are in another continent. So where is the legal framework for this? And I think that's also that we also need to bring here, especially like people that are from the southern part of the Mediterranean. That not that there must be also other kinds of let's say collaboration, not only like focused on EU regions, but also on other things. Just to say that now, for example, just on the top of my mind, there's also a new program that is between the African Union and the European Union. And it would be also interesting maybe for us in the Mediterranean Youth Council to have some kind of cooperation with the African Union. So since some members of the Southern Mediterranean could also be represented there. So yeah, that's it. I think, unless
Yeah, I think
yeah,
if I may add,
yeah,
this kind of barrier, this kind of barrier, I felt more than I guess, maybe Pablo and Tuba, because I was part of a talk about or a group that talks about EU enlargement, and I thought I was part of that in a sense of me coming from a neighboring country, so this could maybe touch a little bit with the Mediterranean EU macro strategy, but it wasn't really a priority at the time. It was really Eurocentric, like Pablo said, And I think it's also because it was very little time for people to talk. So everyone wanted to put their opinion, their priorities on the table. And so you need more time if you really want to include everyone, if you really want to bring someone from the South to talk about this and have their point of view taken into consideration. You should give maybe enough time for everyone to talk. So this is something I wish should happen next events. More time for youth and young people to talk, put their points of views and shape their opinions because such declarations, I guess, needs more than a day.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this. I said it especially because of the discussion that we had later after you had
Yes.
this session, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yeah, so I think we can go to the best presenters of the Mediterranean that they did an amazing work in the Plateau Audiovisuel of like the Tête de l'Art in Marseille. Can you see the image of the YouTube? No, yes, okay. So there's like
Leave
just
me alone. Leave
like
me alone.
okay, so now it's your turn to talk a little bit to us, and especially to those that could not be there. How was everything? How did you feel in the presenting? What do like? How do you think this was like contributing to the Day of the Mediterranean? And what the things you think you could improve or could be also new ideas for next year? So yeah, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Thanks, Pablo. A lot to say about this Mediterranean day with my dear Hyptisen. Basically, we wanted for this day, for this special day, make something huger than before, with a med talk, with more actions, more local actions in the Mediterranean area, and due to some delay, some restrictions, we made. We tried to make something basically for the environment group, for example, Erlina was in charge to make virtual exhibitions with with photos of the that show us the statement of the environment group. And we have also Mina from the 3E group that make a video with his whole group about what's gonna be the challenges of the employment and the entrepreneurships in the Mediterranean area. And we wanted to talk a little bit about it during this Med Talk, as you can see. And it was not easy with Ibtisam. We tried to make something fun, a little bit funny to watch, and also we had the opportunity and the chance to have Karim Amelal, the ambassador of the DMED, who answered to our questions pretty well, and yeah, I think that's it. Ibtisam, do you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you, Avesta. So I will talk about it first. I will talk about first about the day before, actually, the previous day, because me and Avesta, we were also invited to be part of the annual meeting network of the Annalene Foundation in Marseille. So a lot of organization were there, people like really people from different background and working in different fields, representing the Annalene Foundation network. So the sad and the happy thing was that we were a bit the only young people in this place, because basically all the like directors, presidents, and delegates were a bit older. But it was also a nice opportunity for us to represent the Mediterranean Youth Council, and they included us in the discussions, which were very interesting. And we had this young touch every time they were asking us about our inputs and ideas, and that was pretty nice. So the first day I was also invited to talk about the Mediterranean Youth Council and my relationship with the Anna Lindh Foundation personally, because I work with them with the Mediterranean Youth Council and without the Mediterranean Youth Council, so independently also. Sometimes they're asking me to participate in some events, or they're asking me to give some inputs about their programs. So yeah, I've been asked about the event, about how is it going to work with them. I talked also about like the problematics and all the things that are a bit difficult for us, people coming from the southern side of the Mediterranean, when it comes to mobility, for example. This is like a huge problem, and I had to talk about it. So they were also listening and trying to understand how we can work together to make this better for the young people from the southern side. We also took part, me and Avesta, in the afternoon in a very interesting workshop presented by the ALDA Association. So it's the Association for Local Democracy in Europe. The workshop was about instrumentalization of the voice of young people when it comes to advocacy, when it comes to participating in some projects and events related to the Euro-Mediterranean cooperation. There we had a big part, I would say, because the thematics were very different. They were giving some problematics to the groups and asking them if they were responsible of making some advocacy and having some propositions of laws for those people, what they were doing. And it's also like very interesting to see that sometimes people working in organization and working with youth are still a bit far of the reality that we're living every day. So they're like really having some basic solutions to very complicated problems, which is, this is not, it's not how it works. We should like work together. We should have many propositions and people knowing exactly what is happening in the reality, in the terrain, to be able to solve those problems. So yeah, that was very interesting. Actually, they are preparing a resume of the workshop, if I understood well, and I would be happy to share it with you guys once we have it, because they promised to send it to us. And I kept also contact with some of the girls working for ALDA, and they were pretty amazing. So I think we will have this input soon. When it comes to the Met Talk, actually it was pretty fun to do it. I really enjoyed doing it with Avesta, and at the same time we tried to talk about important subjects for us and for the Mediterranean Youth Council also. So with the ambassador of the Mediterranean, Kerima Melal, we also talked about the mobility and the problem of the visa, because I really believe that this is one of the biggest problems we have and we need to find a solution for it. So he was pretty positive, I think, about it, and said that they are doing from their side a lot of effort to be able to have those people participating. We also know that those efforts are not enough, are clearly not enough for the moment, but this is like a very nice beginning to really open the discussion, open the dialogue about these subjects, and try to find common solutions. We also had the opportunity to have our dear Pablo there. He was talking to us about his amazing experience in Lebanon, because he lived there for some years, and that was pretty nice to see that us as Mediterranean, we're very connected when it comes to culture, when it comes to traditions, when it comes to our way of living. And we also finished with a little quiz that was very fun to do with our members. So yeah, I think this is kind of new, but at the same time, it's really us. It's really looking like us, because we want these subjects to be talked about in a very serious in a very serious way, but at the same time, we want to really share the fact that we are youth and we still have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, that's it.
No, it was amazing to join, and to be honest, I really love the quiz also because there was a lot of new facts. That's why also I think people were very bad at the quiz because they were like, oh, you are not. I'm very proud when but most of the time you're not answering very well. You need to improve, guys. What is this? So I mean, I think it was very nice, but I also think that there is a lot of things that you asked about that, to be honest, they are not very known, even in for us, like for the members of the Mediterranean Youth Council. So I think it's very important that all this knowledge that we have, first we tell to our members that they have all these opportunities. For example, the fact that you met with ALDA Association, we need to, like share all this knowledge. That's why also we try to organize this talk today, because the idea is to do more sessions, and every time there is something that relates to us, we can talk about it. And yeah, and also you said, and I just want to ask you the same, because you said, like when you were like in this workshop, they proposed very simple solutions to very complex problems. And I don't know if you can maybe give us an example of that happened.
So for example, one of the scenarios problematic was that there is an organization / association in French, association, that was working with young people in their main their main presentation. They were saying that they are working with young people, but the youngest member of this association was 30 years old. Everyone was like 45, 30, 40, like 8, 50, something like that. And they were trying to have some funds to implement it with the youth of the region. And they were trying also to work with the youth councils of the region where the association is implemented. And the problematic was that a lot of times those young people were coming to the organization and saying, guys, you're proposing some events and some actions that are really not interesting for us as youth, and we need to talk about it, and we need to have our contribution, and we need to have a dialogue between us so we can effectively have actions that are implemented and where young people are participating. Because every time they were organizing an event, no one, like literally 2 or 3 people from the organization were participating, but the targets, the young people, were not. So the organization just replied to the others that the young people are a bit picky. They don't have a lot of experience in this, and they just need to let the others work for them until they have more experience, That was the problematic. So this is not what they said. That was the problematic. And the question was like, what proposition, what solution do you propose in this case to have like more young people in this organization and to have a dialogue between the 2 of them, And the solution like proposed were very basic in our sense, which was like, okay, let's just create a department where there is like young people, where there is like meetings with young people every 2-3 weeks, and they can talk about their problems, and we will like listen to them and try to implement some actions, like taking in consideration the inputs that they have. And other like solutions was like, oh, okay, no problem, we should just create another organization for those young people. Like they don't have to work with the oldest one. So I mean, for us it was kind of funny and at the same time interesting to watch this, because we in the Mediterranean Youth Council, we are literally young people working with young people. So it's kind of very different from like I've been in organizations when there is older people, and we can all here say that it's very different. Like the contact that you have with them, the way of saying things, the way of I mean, there is a eternal dialogue. You know, you need to talk about everything. You need to explain everything because we're not living the same reality, and this is totally normal. But for them, it was like kind of just separate them. You know, just make the young people work alone and make the others work alone, and everything is gonna be okay. But we were like, guys, like the reality says that the people working in this organization are the ones having the funds. It's not the youth. So if they want to do something, if they want to implement an action, they are obliged actually to work with the others. There's no way. And this is also we here talk about also the problematic of trusting the experience of young people and not like not giving them directly funds to their project and to their organizations to be able to work. And they need to be kind of to find a chaperone, you know, like every time they need to find someone like to, you know, be on the top and try to make things work for them, which is like also something that we've been living in the Mediterranean Youth Council. And this is like something that we try to find a solution for. So yeah, this is one of the examples, but a lot of them were very interesting and funny at the same time. But for me and Avesta, I think we saw it as much more than just simple solution to have, you know.
Yeah. No, I think it's super interesting what you're saying, eh? And these things we don't know, we wouldn't know about them if you were not telling us, you know, like, but I think it's so interesting. Like, yeah. So if you want, guys, now, we would supposed to have people coming from unless you want to talk or ask questions to Tisem and Avesta, which I invite you to if you want. But so we were thinking of like having people talk about the UFM Med Youth Lab. Unfortunately, I talked to Selma, Najib, and Gada, and they told me that they are not able to join us now. So I think what we can do is maybe let Camila talk a little bit about the COP if she wants, although I already talked to her to maybe organize a session next week with Francesc, and so they could both like do a proper presentation. And before you jump in, Camila, if you want, maybe you can start preparing maybe a web page to show us where like it, you know, summarize a little bit the activities or an image if you want to share your screen. Maybe after Camila, I was just want to say that I will talk about a presentation that I went into my university yesterday that talked about youth organizations, but from a research perspective and how they can be co-opted by national governments. But I will talk about this later. I want to first leave the space for Camila, and maybe later I can tell you a little bit the summary of what they heard, because I think it's also very interesting for all of us to reflect about these topics.
Yes, thank you, Pablo. I will not go into deep on what happened at COP and also the involvement of the Mediterranean Youth Council within, as we will have a dedicated session for that. But I do have to say that I had the chance to speak on behalf of MYC in a Union for the Mediterranean youth-led session. And in my intervention, I also underlined the mobility visa issue, like Ibtisam said, because before going there, I asked a little bit my colleagues from MYC, what should we address? Of course, it was more climate environmental focused. But during my intervention, I also lifted that up because it's a constant issue that we know that our friends face. And again, there it was interesting to observe youth engagement. And as you said as well, how in some moments was very well mixed between youth, more senior generations, policymakers. They were listening, they were active, and other times where you could clearly see that there was a big division. So there were panels where there were youth speaking between themselves, and then right after the second part was just senior people. There was no mixing up. And I think that was the think that it could be easily fixed, but eventually it's a sign for us to see that we should still push for that and work on that. So yeah, again, I will not add much more because I'm happy also to share this space and this topic with Francesc. But I was very glad to hear about your experiences. And also I'm definitely gonna look forward to your next quizzes, IPTISEM and Avesta. So thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Camila. Yeah, I think like maybe with Francesc, I mean, maybe you can be for next week, we can do like a big session, and then you can also, because I feel like COP is super big, and I thought it was like 2 or 3 days, but then I felt like, then I saw that there were like people still showing videos about COP like 2 weeks after, and I was like,
Yeah.
but it's COP like supposed to be finished, like I
It's
don't understand.
2 weeks long.
Yeah,
It's
so
intense.
yeah, so I just sorry for ITSM. I will let you go now, but just one question that I want to, maybe you can answer later is, how do you think the COP or the climatic policies can have an impact on the Mediterranean Youth Council, or how can we have more impact in COP? Because I really have the feeling that other youth organizations are maybe because they have the main focus on climate, maybe that's why they are more able to participate. But yeah, how do you think we can have more participation, or yeah, how we can let's say have more presence in COP?
Okay, I will answer after IPTISEM.
So actually, Camila, you can go for it, because my question is, it's not a question, just a fact that I wanted to give. It's not totally related, so go for it so we keep the line.
Okay. Definitely for me it was a good chance to observe what can we do. It was my first COP, so it was a learning experience to see how we can do better for the next editions. Indeed, there are a lot of youth organizations that are very active, but because, as you said, their main focus is on climate and environment. But indeed, MYC can play a role with it. The fact that we were part of the Union for the Mediterranean Pavilion space, it was great because I discovered also the work they do with youth and climate. They have a whole department on that. So they can also be a space where MOEC can contribute on policy level on this agenda. The Mediterranean is a highly affected area when it comes to climate conversation. So indeed, another thing that we could try to work on is on being on the negotiating tables. There are some member countries at COP that have managed to have young negotiators with them. It's still a big fight and work in progress, but it's I think it's worth it, and it's important to have young people in the tables, not just being, of course, consulting is important, but also, you know, negotiating themselves and speaking. So that's something that perhaps can be an input for MYC work in the future.
Thank you, Camila. It was very interesting. I was super jealous because I was supposed to go to this event, and I saw you with all the beautiful pictures in Azerbaijan, and I was like, no, I needed to go there. So I think next time I will follow you more on your Instagram to know where you're going.
Oh, but I'm happy to have you with us next time. And also, I'm glad that I got to see you at the previous event with Anna Lind. So we always run into each other and we see people.
And that's beautiful. So actually, I wanted to talk about that event because in this event, I discovered something that is so interesting for us to know as Mediterranean Youth Mediterranean organization. So basically, I will give you a little bit of context. So first of all, I was participating with the Anna Lindh Foundation in this Global Gateway high level youth event. This is how it calls in Brussels. And we were, so basically we were representing Anna Lindh Foundation and the Youth Network for European Neighborhood. This is how it calls. So Anna Lindh Foundation is a part of this network, and most of the times they are they are asked to propose some names and some youth people to take part in the event. So during the event, actually, we've been connected with literally young people from all around the globe. That was amazing. People were coming from everywhere. I really connected with people and with countries that I didn't even know before. That was really amazing. But the thing is, when we were there, the representatives of the Anna Lindh Foundation this time were only from the MENA region. First of all, I didn't understand why, because I was like, we're all coming from like Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, and stuff, and I was like, I didn't really know. But when we were there, so actually, there were no representation of the MENA region in most of the panels. When I say most of the panels, like only one panel had a representative from Sudan. She was literally amazing, and I kiss her if she comes by here because she's really a wonderful woman, and she talked about the situation in a very inspiring way. But we were like, why? Like how it comes that this is a very huge event in 2 days, we didn't have like that much representation from the MENA region. And when asking the Anna Lindh Foundation, so they explained to me something that I would explain to you now, and we would try to talk about it maybe and to understand it. So first of all, the MENA region was included in the DGNIR. DGNIR is the Directorate General for Neighborhood and Enlargement Negotiation. First, we were under this rectorate, and we were participating in events under this rectorate. So this year, they decided to separate the MENA region and to put it into a directorate called DG INTPA, which is a Directorate General for International Partnership. Like the little problem in this is that the one organizing the event, most of the event related to youth, is the first one. So we've been kind of kicked off the first one, and they said, okay, the MENA region is now related to DG INTPA, it's not related to DGNIR, and people from this region need to go through INTPA to participate in events. But at the same time, it's normal that a rectorate will privilege his region and the young people representing his region to participate in events, you know? And this is kind of a discussion we had with the Anna Lindh Foundation, and they told us that they were doing kind of advocacy to put the MENA region again into DGNIR, because for them, it makes no sense. That is the only region that is separated from the DGNIR, which has huge amount of funds for the youth event. So this is something very interesting to know in case you've been through some event and you didn't see, you've been through European Commission events and you didn't see a lot of MENA representation. This is why, like this is the why. And as I know, until now, the Anna Lindh Foundation is still working with youth people and other organizations to do a huge advocacy. So the MENA region is a part again of the DG INTPA. This is what I wanted you to know, guys.
Yeah, Maisara.
I think this is something, sorry, it's still up. I think it's very important for us to start something like advocacy, Tissam, because this is a scene that has been repeating in most events. And we are just invited as a token, like, hey, diversity, guys, well done. I think this is not benefiting anyone because we just take the photo and that's it, right? There is no actual visibility and there is no actual talks and deep talks about what we do. So I think the council needs to start advocating more boldly about things like that. It should come up often. Other councils and other youth organizations are doing their own advocacy, so maybe we can join hands. This is very, very important. Yeah. Also, I have so many questions to you, Camila, but I will leave it to your session, dedication, like next week, because as a person who works mainly about the environment, I'm so interested to know about what happened. Yes, thank you.
I totally agree with you, my Sarah. So I think we need to be more picky, about how we participate into events. And this is not an arrogant way to say it, but as we know what we have to put on the table, we just need to be a bit more exigent when participating in events and saying, guys, we want to be part of panels. We want to be speakers. We want to have a word in this event and not just participating to participate. This is I totally agree with you on this, and I think as Mediterranean Youth Council, we should really go on deep advocacy for this one with our initial network, which is, as I told you, Annalene Foundation is already doing huge work on this one, so we can totally be part of it and say, okay, ILF, hi, we want to be part of your advocacy, and maybe preparing some words for us to share with those people from the DG INTPA and the DG NIR to know how is it frustrating for us to participate in events when we want to have a word or we want to see people representing us and we don't.
Yeah, sorry to jump in, but I think it's so interesting what you are both saying, and I think it's so important. For me, I think that's why we should also have a specific session to understand a little bit more of how is the geopolitics about the new commissioner for the Mediterranean. But you were talking about this related to the Global Gateway meeting, right? That you went, yeah. So I talked with a professor that is he's in Morocco in the Policy Center for the New South, which is a think tank in Morocco, but he's Spanish. And I talked to him, and we were planning in 2 weeks to organize a session, so he can tell us. He also worked with the Annalene Foundation before. He was also in actually the College of Europe in Natolin also for some time. So I think he can, and the idea was to organize a session of him just basically describing what's happening in the Mediterranean, what are the geopolitics, why there is a new commission for the Mediterranean. I don't think no one really knows what this commission is going to do. I think talking to some people that were in Brussels, they were even telling me that this commissioner was actually not referring to some of the policies of the neighborhood like in a proper way. It was using like the very weird words. So like she was talking about instead of the process of Barcelona, she was talking about the I don't know, the key of Barcelona. So something these things are also important to know us like how we need to act. And maybe we can cover a little bit this in the political declaration. And this is more of a word to ask the co-presidents and the vice presidents that we need to lead this. But I think we can cover these things in the political declaration. And also all the things happening around the Pact for the Mediterranean that, for example, this professor, when I was talking to him, he published an opinion and he was saying that basically the Union for the Mediterranean is completely left out. And the Union for the Mediterranean is supposed to be let's say, the central piece, of the Mediterranean, but now it's left out of this new strategy, this new pact that the Commission wants to do. And yeah, so just to show you the institution that, because I also found that this is interesting, I sent it in our WhatsApp group. There was this institution, the EMET, the European Institute for the Mediterranean, that is in Barcelona. This is the one that will be, let's say, doing. They said they are going to start doing like some interviews to know what happened with what is going to happen with this new pact. And is this just an information for you to know that this is going to happen? And I don't know how we can benefit from it, but basically they have this new project called Support to Reflection and Consultation on the Pact for the Mediterranean, which includes the implementation of a Euromed survey, regional consultations, and major dialogue forums. Maybe this could be a way for us also to participate. Yeah, if you want to say something else, the floor is yours. I also just wanted to talk to you about this specific event that I went to in my university yesterday. And it's just like, I just want to provide you with a summary of what this researcher said. He's Adam Amarquis, he's Swedish, but he went to do like some research in Jordan. But I don't know if you have something else to say about the last topic, and then I can jump in and do this summary about this.
I feel a bit concerned when reading authoritarian, so maybe you can go for it, Pablo.
Okay, I will explain to it what he said, but I mean, this is also very open for all of us to talk and to know our impressions. And that guy is just presenting his research, so I mean, we can also invite him if you find it super interesting. I have a connection to him personally, so and he's based in the Center for Middle Eastern Studies here in Lund University. So basically, he was talking about his done some fieldwork he did in Jordan, and he was talking basically about this how youth organizations can be co-opted by authoritarian regimes. So he was specifically talking about the case of one organization called HACEC in Jordan that he was basically doing interviews with. And he was also talking about the UN Youth, Peace and Security Agenda, and the first meeting that where this agenda was pushed for was actually in Jordan in 2015. So I think it's also a pact that can also affect us if we try to go to any UN forum. So I think it's also important to know where it comes from. And basically, he was saying the question of his research is why, of course, he frames Jordan as an autocracy. And he was saying why are autocracies so enthusiastic that to make people participate, because normally autocracies are supposed in political science literature to be regimes that they want the people to not be active, to not raise the voice. So he was talking why there is this interest in people organizing. And basically, so he gave some examples. He gave the example of Nashi, which is a Russian organization, of Kamalot, which is in Uzbekistan. And he talked about this. This is a political theory, okay, but you don't have to remember the name. But he talks about the theory of agentive acquiescence. But basically, this theory, in like plain words, basically says that if you give young people the opportunity to mobilize them, let's say that it's a way to make them feel that they have a more of a purpose, and in this way you redirect the things that they do, instead of to revolutionary things, to just say taking the voice against the regime or doing things that can change the regime, just towards other things that are less revolutionary, and it's more about empowerment and, let's say, a neoliberal idea of I don't know, entrepreneurship and things, but they are very very depoliticized in that way, you know. So for example, he talked about HACEC, which is an organization founded also that has some relations to the Crown Prince Foundation in Jordan. And he talked about how most of the activities that, because he was there and he participated, he did observation and participation, how in terms of, for example, there was this workshop about how to use parliamentary questions to the Parliament of Jordan, and how people, you know, could use some political tools. But then the problem is that the Parliament of Jordan is mostly, it's not a real political forum where people can actually do things that change the politics, you know. So he talked a little bit about this problem, and yeah, like how human rights sometimes is a no-go place, also in this kind of let's say this kind of forums. Yeah, so that's it. I don't know, I just thought it was interesting to bring it to you, this research, because he's kind of researching youth in the Mediterranean, in the MENA region more generally. And yeah, just for you that this is also happening. And he was also even trying to start some kind of book to try to do like a comprehensive mapping of all the Mediterranean of all the MENA youth organizations that are out there, and was the level of involvement of regimes in these organizations. And yes, so, but I think this is, I just talked to him that this is a general phenomenon, because, for example, in NATO, they are now doing this NATO Youth Council too. So apart from talking about regimes that are authoritarian or whatever, the thing is that the youth is becoming like a political space. in general, you know, from the sense of like there is that more and more there is like this idea that we need to engage with youth, and yeah, how can we use youth? So that's it. I just wanted to tell you about this because I found it very interesting and that it affected us too. And yeah, so just for you to know, and if you want to discuss a little bit, but yeah, just for you to know that, yeah.
Thank you, Pablo. That was very interesting. So basically, for me, the last thing you said was super interesting because I think that actually those organizations are not giving enough political space to those youth, but are using them to have kind of credibility, you know, an international credibility, a political credibility by saying, oh, hi guys, we have also youth in our organization and they have space to talk and their voices are heard, you know. Most of the times it's not the reality of the thing. It's just like kind of, you know, when you're making a cake and you just need to put eggs on it and they put eggs on it, but you know, that's kind of how I see things now, because for me it's becoming very popular to like have those youth faces. I think if it's done well, if it's done in the right way and they're giving them enough space, this is amazing. But if they are doing it only for the purpose of credibility and international recognition.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like, for example, like one of the questions that they were asking him is that, yeah, but you should put the focus on this perceived sense of like empowerment. And he was like, yeah, like, but the thing is that actually some people actually feel empowered with these things. And if they feel empowered, as a researcher, I cannot go into their mentality and say if they're empowered and that's good for them, I cannot say anything, you know? And okay, like for me, that's the bottom line of the Mediterranean Youth Council. What we have to talk about is that as long as we are empowered and it has a purpose for us. Okay, that's the most important thing, and of course then into political science, that if you're interested or not, then we can talk about these topics of who is funded by who and how this is used by political regimes or organizations. But yeah, I think that's the first thing, because if you don't even have anyone doing anything, what can and that you're not changing anything, then like what's the point, no? But yeah. So I don't know if you have more questions or anything else that you want to say.
I'm actually curious to know if participants or Mariangela has any thought or question for
By the
us.
way, I also said that Jumana, I don't know if she's hearing us now, but she also joined. So I just want to say hi to her. Yeah, but if you have anything that you want to say or ask.
So first of all, I'm amazed by you guys in the sense that, I just feel that this kind of dialogue is really insightful, and it's been a very long time I didn't take part in some kinds of dialogues, and it's really interesting to hear all of this. I completely feel you when it comes to the frustration, the sense of frustration in terms of youth involvement, most of all in public occasions, international panels and discussions. I think I don't remember who of you mentioned it before, but Interreg next met, and basically at the beginning of October, yes, there was the European Week of Cities and Regions, and basically they organized various sessions, workshops, training sessions, everything. And it was open to everybody, of course, to organizations, to individuals. And basically there was a workshop that was organized by Interreg Next Med. So I decided to take part. And basically I was the only one who was under 25 years old, and all the rest were after 45 years old, I have to say. So there was a big difference. Of course, as I think it's been mentioned before, I completely agree with what we need. It's in intergenerational dialogue, because we can help us like each other. But at the same time, I just remember that there were like some organizations from some Mediterranean countries who were presenting like their most important projects involving youngsters, but yeah, like youngsters, they were not there. So I completely feel you, and it's a huge problem. And I often think about the solution of this problem. I mean, it's very complicated, but not impossible. So this first, like all this part of the conversation really touched me because I always felt we were like kicked off like international panels and everything, but when you feel it personally, it sounds completely different. And another topic you mentioned was like the new commissioner for the Mediterranean and everything. I think it's I don't know if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm really sorry that you mentioned that basically they are receiving less funds than before. Yeah, I confirm because in my previous organization was like dealing with like the diplomatic field, most of all in the Mediterranean region. I participated to this meeting with the EAS, and basically they were just, you know, kind of like my organization was pushing to like have a more concrete involvement of Mediterranean countries, because most of the times there's the European Commission institutions, some European countries, and basically the rest of the Mediterranean area is not involved. And basically, in a really Machiavellic way, the representative just answered, yes, basically, if you want to be part of the UFM and the UFM's initiatives, you have to put your money in. If you wanted to just contribute by 10,000 euros, you cannot receive what we, because basically they were talking about that most of the countries, they're just like financing less than, for example, Germany, that it's not even a Mediterranean country. And so this was the topic of the conversation. And basically, like overall, they received less fundings, not only from other countries, but like there was it was kind of, I was shocked because there was like a really big difference in terms of power. And even in the conversation, I felt that there were like people who are saying, okay, we want to be involved, but we don't have the means as like other countries to be involved as much as we would, but you just don't accept that. And it was it was really shocking, at least for me. But like yes, overall I think it's I mean, it's one of the biggest challenges that we have. And I think this is something that we, like all of us, know. And I mean, just as a first impression, just by listening to you and the conversation that you have and the dialogue, as I was saying at the beginning, I'm impressed because I think you are in the right direction. And that's it. I don't think I have like specific questions at the moment. Most of the time I have questions like right after an hour after the conversation. But yes, I don't know if you have questions, or I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Thank you anyway for just letting me take part in this conversation.
Thank you very much, Mariangela, like that you are joining us. It was super nice to have you here and to listen to us and to what we do. And also, I mean, the idea of this talk is just to join ideas, you know, also because also from you that you come from outside, from the NYC, you know, so also to see how you see things from outside and see, and also from a young person, you know. For us, the most important thing is that it was interesting for your research. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like most of the times I have to research like on like geopolitics topics and stuff. But one of my main interests would be like youth involvement in like political processes, because I think it was, I don't remember who mentioned before, but most of the times actually it's really related to the the article and the topic you described before. Most of the times we just we put into words, youth participation is one of the main values of our, I don't know, national government or organization or like stuff like that, but like in fact it doesn't happen. And so yeah, basically it would be really nice to just deepen into this topic and understand what would be the solution, how this involvement, how this participation can become concrete when it comes to youth. Because I think it's like sometimes there's a kind of middle participation. They just, okay, you can participate, but you cannot talk, or yes, you can talk, but actually your word is not going to be part of our decision process. So we just have to accept the minimum. But yes, I think of course it's something that we need to change. But I really feel you. Like the first part of the dialogue was really, really, really close to my perspective and to my personal experience. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if you want to, I think we are now like reaching the end more or less of the discussion, but I saw that Jumana, she opened the camera before. I don't know if you want to jump in or say something. If not now, like the floor is open to any of you to react to what we talked. Yeah, so as you want.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. It's a bit tricky because I joined this meeting because the Interreg Young Volunteer that we are hosting in our institution told me about this meeting, and I'm really interested in following up this. But today it's a bank holiday in Spain, and I'm just connecting as personal initiative. So it's not in the framework. Yes.
Sorry, if you can tell us who you are and present yourself before,
yes.
Because I think you work in the NECBC Med.
Yes,
program,
so
but...
I work for Interreg Next Med, which was called NECBC Med before, and that's why I'm highlighting that I'm here on a personal initiative and not in the framework of work.
Thank you.
And it's really important for me to listen to your opinion and your view on that, because what I'm really concerned is if some institution is trying to do some kind of youth washing. And so I think it's very important that you give this message to the institutions that you think they might be doing this. In our case, what we did, and I promoted in different foro and at the UFM 2 years ago and in other occasions, we realized that, so basically we fund projects all over the Mediterranean, and we realized that young people were always beneficiaries of our project, but they were not designing the project or implementing it. So that's why what we did when we started with Interreg Next Med, we launched the first call, and we decided to dedicate 20% of our budget to fund projects made by young organization and implemented by young organization. And we are still evaluating them, and we are about to probably in 2 months' time announce the results. And I'm really looking forward for that, because I think it's a real thing to change the perspective, not just, okay, inviting you in webinars or inviting you in whatever event to take part in the panel. But in this case, we are like funding about 20 projects. Each one will be about 1 million euro between 5-6 organizations, where you can really do what you think you need to do to tackle your challenge. So for me, it's really interesting to hear this meeting, but it's a bit weird because I'm on the part of those who are being criticized, so to speak. But so that's why I'm talking for myself, not in the name of the program or the organization. And I think we should have this kind of conversation with you. We, as European program or as any other
organization working for the Mediterranean and wanting to get involved young people.
Mhm. Thank you, Jomana, for joining. We are lifting and issues that we observe, not purely criticizing, but you know that. And I truly
You
appreciate.
have to criticize. I mean, this is the only way we
Yeah,
advance, you know, we
I
have to be
agree.
critical. So
I agree. I put it in a more diplomatic way, but
I'm not diplomatic.
I appreciate what you said because as like that is a huge point. We see a lot of potential on youth-led projects and ideas, but often there is lack of funding for it, or young people are not the drivers. So I'm really happy that you mentioned that. Thank you also for joining.
Thank you. Sorry, I just want to mention one more thing. In January, we are going to launch the second call. And again, we are going to have two types of projects, one which is more thematic, and the other one will be what we will call eco-youth projects. So meaning that the focus of this call is about green transition in the Mediterranean region, but we want to fund projects, again, led by young organizations with this focus. So I invite you, if you're interested, to follow us on social media, and by mid-January, you'll know about the information days or the webinars that we will organize to explain the call, to answer any doubt you may have if you're interested to present a proposal.
Thank you very much, Jumana, for being here and for connecting and listening to us, basically. And also for connecting today. That is the day of the in Spain is not a working day, so it's super nice that you made it. And I have so many things to say. First, it's just maybe later you can tell us, like, because I'm interested in which is the volunteer that told you about us, because I think it's someone that Sarah and I probably met in maybe in Brussels in the Interreg event that we were
Future
invited
Youth for
to.
Cooperation, yes.
Youth for Cooperation. Yeah, thank you.
No, I don't think so. Her
No?
name is Alicia, but I will give you her surname
Okay.
just a second.
Coco?
No, no, it's Alicia, no?
Yes.
Alicia.
She's from Catalonia.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's just to know that we are all. You don't have to give me her name. It's just to know if it's someone that we knew or we had met in Brussels. But I think it's someone else. So it's just to know that there is someone else following us about these things. Also, I was thinking that even in January, when you launched the call, we could even organize an event together, maybe where you can even explain the call and the kinds of activities that you are trying to also fund, which are the requirements. So we can talk about this, more in detail later. I think it would be a very nice event because, to be honest, I don't think there is a lot of young people, even in the Mediterranean Youth Council, that know about this. And most of the people in the Mediterranean Youth Council already have presence with youth, NGOs, or associations all over the Mediterranean, but they don't really have all this information about funding. So I think it would be amazing if you could, do maybe this kind of webinar, and so that would be amazing,
I would love to, and I suggest if you want, we can just organize a webinar so you have the network of all these organizations who may be interested, and we could organize it the second half of January. I mean, I prefer to tell you now because I know my agenda, and that would be the best time, because we will probably launch the call around mid-January, and starting from February, we'll be busy with the information days. So this slot, the second half of January, would be perfect to organize such an online event.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you registered with your email to this event? Just.
I think you are the one who sent me the link.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, I put on the chat my email, so you can.
Yeah, it's just to have your email, and so we can organize it also. But yeah, I don't know if someone else has any comment. If you want to jump in.
I just want to say thank you so much for volunteering your time, and I'm very, very glad that you heard it the way it is. because I know sometimes this could be problematic, but with the right person listening and with open mind, this could be actually a way to change things for the best. So this is what I'm grateful for. Thank you so much. And I
Thank you.
join voices, of course, that we need a great webinar to know more about the organizations, the programs, and have cooperation at advance. That would be amazing.
Great.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, I don't know if someone else has any comment, but if not, I think it's already a little bit.
I just wanted to
Yeah,
thank
just
you.
please go in.
I just wanted to simply thank you again for letting me participate, and that's it. Thanks.
No, it was a pleasure. I think this was, to be honest, it was just a trial meeting of the first of an idea that we had just like I think 1 or 2 weeks ago from the board of the Mediterranean Youth Council, and it was great to talk to you both. And of course, like this will be recorded, and so maybe more people can benefit from it too. And it is to do one every 1 or 2 weeks, I think. So the next week, if we will have, if everything goes well, we will have Camila and we will have Francesc from the Mediterranean Youth Council. They both went to COP 29 in Baku. So they will tell us, about this, how it went, and of course we can talk about other topics, but I think that it would be nice. And I'm also planning to organize a webinar in 2 weeks with Ivan Martin, which is a professor from that is in the Policy Center for the New South in Morocco, but also he teaches in Pompeu Fabra, and he will tell us about what's the geopolitical moment in Mediterranean organizations. So yeah, he will do a more like, let's say, academic talk. Miss Sarah?
I think it's important to have like a checkout round. All of us like have maybe say the name and some comment or a feeling or a reflection about today's session, because we had so many I don't know, feelings and also experiences and stuff. So maybe we can go around, and starting by Jumana, I guess.
Well, I'm really glad to take part in this meeting and listen openly to your views. I initially I think that the topic of today was also about the UFM Mid Youth Lab. So I don't know if I connected late and I missed this part because I was there also. So it was.
Yeah.
I wanted to know more or less the feedback about this event. And then I would like to join, if possible, the meeting in 2 weeks' time with Ivan Martin. I know him personally, so I think it would be very nice if I can also join that meeting.
Yeah, so for about the UFM Youth Lab, unfortunately, the members that they were supposed to, they told us that they were not able to attend because of work or other things. So I think maybe next week, what we do is we do both COP29 and UFM Med Youth Lab. But in any case, we will also do in our social media, we will talk, we will post about the topics that we will talk, so you can also register there, and yeah, but probably next week we will also have someone talking about that, and the same thing for the webinar for Ivan Martin.
And do you always organize it the same day, same time?
No, as I said, this is just like a trial meeting. And to be honest, I think what we will do next time is push it a little bit later, because I have, and this me personally, I have the feeling that a lot of people didn't connect because they were going out from work or still finishing work. So maybe we will do it a little bit later. And so we will do a poll at least in the Mediterranean Youth Council, and see how much people can come. And yeah. We will see. Yeah, but about what my Sarah proposed, which I think is brilliant, and I love it. Thank you very much. I think that I felt that this was like a trial, but it went amazingly. Thanks to Mariangela and to Jumana that also joined us. But also thanks to us, to the Mediterranean Youth Council, the members that told us about all the different events that we were in, and I think it was super nice to collect these ideas, because I thought it was going to be more like just talking about what we did, but I feel we had a lot of things to comment, and I think we should do this more, and this should be something for the future, that we just come with our ideas, with what we did, and just share what we feel, because I think that's the most important way that we can build some things together, So yeah, an next person wants to jump in.
This is like a checkout, so a feeling, reflection about the session or something.
Yeah, I will quickly say that I'm really glad to share this space with you and to confront each other on what we observed in our different events and engagement in different countries with different people. So it's always special to bring us all together to discuss on that. And I'm looking forward for the continuation of this series. I'm really enjoying it. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Camila. Thank you so much. Mariangela, would you like to share something? No pressure, of course.
Yes, thank you. As I was saying also before, I'm really glad to be in this conversation and dialogue, because most of the times I didn't have the opportunity to give my perspective or just share my frustration, and it's important also to do so. And most of when it comes to youth participation in the Mediterranean region, it's something that we have to deal with. So it was really a cathartic conversation also from this perspective, but also really insightful, because I learned what you do in terms of activities, how do you think, how do you act, and this is really important because as I told before, it's really close to my personal perspective. And as Jumana was saying before, I'm really interested also in taking part in the future meetings, and particularly with I don't remember exactly the name. I just know another representative of the Policy Center for the New South, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting. And that's it. So thank you very much again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Jumana, would you like to?
Oh, she already said something.
Okay, yeah.
Should we take a picture?
Avesta. Like a screenshot?
It's me! I'm here! Of course, thank you very much to attend to this meeting. It was the first, but I hope not the last, and we will improve some specific things about it, as Pablo said.
Thank you so much, Avesta. Ibtisam.
Thank you so much also for this idea. It was an amazing one. I always dreamed of having a podcast, but I didn't think that it's going to be this kind of podcast, but I really like it. I think I will participate in the future. So yeah, I'm very happy. Actually, I'm very happy about it. I'm going to turn 30 next year. And I really want to leave a better space for the future generations. This is really like the main thing of all the things I'm doing. I really want the next generation of Mediterranean youth and non-Mediterranean youth also to have a better space and to feel like they are empowered, their voices are heard, and they are really change makers and not just there to be quotas or just to represent some kind of like a hidden goal, So yeah, the old me is super happy about the new generation.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ines. I'm sorry. Okay, if I may share, I'm so happy that we started. It takes a lot to take the first step. So when you take it, things start to unfold. So I'm grateful for this. We didn't postpone or anything. I'm also so grateful for Jumana and Mariangela to be here. Someone from the outside, how they see it, how they their participations enriched it a lot. I'm so grateful that we have the space and comfort to share our deepest and complicated thoughts about this, and that a platform like this could be a place where we attract like minds, so we have a chance in advocacy and change. So yeah, so it's a lot of gratitude for me. Thank you so much, and thank you, Pablo, for actually starting this. And back to you.
A photo, if you want, to share in our social media. Okay, maybe Camila, you can take it if you know how to take it, or just tell us when to smile. And
You can do a screenshot, Pablo.
I can also do a screenshot. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me just do a screenshot. Okay. So I hope this works because I don't know. Okay. I think I know how it works, but just let me check that it's the. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. So I took a screenshot and I will check that. Okay, it's perfect. You're all smiley. Avesta is doing like this with the eye. So perfect. So thank you very much all for coming, and we will send information for the next week after I talk with Camila and Francesc, and also with people that went to the UFM Youth Lab. And yeah, just have an amazing weekend, and thank you very much for sharing your ideas. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.